investors, I can tell you that we have been engaged with investors for several months now. There are three things that are very clear from our engagement with them. First of all, they all view India as a very positive destination for investment of funds. They're all very bullish about India, which I think is very, very important. The second part is they like the telecom sector. They like the telecom sector because, one, they like the structure of the telecom sector. And of course, it is a sector of sectors, and it is focused on digitalization of the country and the economy. And that becomes a feeder for many other sectors. So they like that sector as well. And they think that this is a sector which will rebound very positively in the coming years. So they have shown nothing but positive sentiment towards the sector. Their concerns were, as we discussed with them, were around three things. One, which is the government going to make reforms in the sector, for example? Secondly, that they had talked about, is the government serious about keeping three players and the competitive industry in the sector? They were also concerned about the fact that whether this, is the government taking this sector seriously? Now, with this package that's come through, I think all of those boxes have been checked.
And Mr. Takkar, one question on pricing. What is the outlook on tariffs from here on? Up until now, in the last few months, we've seen minor tweaks on pricing. We haven't seen a material increase in your average revenue per user. The last time it happened was in 2019, towards the end of the year. Going ahead, are we going to continue to see these minor tweaks in pricing, or do you think there is a scope? There is a business case. There's always been a business case, but it hasn't materialized. So if you could just share your thoughts on pricing and how Vodafone Idea would move.
Yeah, so Rima, you're absolutely right. Pricing is one of the most important elements of this industry, in the sense that, in many ways, pricing has been used as a way to reduce competition, to drive out competitors in the industry over and over again in the long history of this sector in the country. So if we go back 25 years, this industry has been around. Somehow pricing has always been a tool that has been used to create stress. And in some ways, this is where we were until the announcement by the government on this relief package. I think the message that this relief package sends very clearly is, one, as I said, the government is serious about ensuring competitiveness of this industry, ensuring at least three players, and it will not turn into a duopoly or a monopoly. I think that's a very important step. And now with three players, and each one of them had actually told the government by themselves that they would like to see industry pricing improve, but somehow were not able to manage it independently. My hope and my assumption now is that with this package and the intent of the government becoming very clear, organically there is a mechanism by which pricing in the industry can improve. I believe it will start to improve in a significant manner soon. It will be in a step-by-step basis, because you can't expect prices to suddenly double overnight, but I think there will be steps that will start to take place. And I certainly expect those to happen in the industry. And eventually, pricing improvement is the only way to structurally improve the overall health of the industry. And I believe that that will start to happen now, given this statement made by the government.
Right. Ravinder Takkar, Nisha here, joining in from the studio. I wanted to understand, see, this is your best pitch point to reach out to the investors, because fundraising is going to be very crucial to your survival going forward as well. Now, my first question regarding that, is there enough clarity with the government in terms of the dilution of your stake going forward at the end of 4 years of moratorium? So most of the investors, and I have worked my phone over the last few days to understand, they have one pertinent question. Is there any arrangement with the government in terms of dilution of your stake at the end of 4 years at a certain price? Sources do suggest that there is an indicative price of 10 rupees at which certain amount of dilution will take place, and thereafter as your share price moves higher. Can you give us more clarity on that?
Actually, Nisha, I wish I could immediately right now. I think, as I said, some of those guidelines and details of exactly what that cabinet package will entail are expected any day now from the various ministries. I can tell you, in a more subjective manner in all my discussions with the government. The government, and I've had several discussions, as you can imagine, over the past few months, the government is not interested in owning, controlling, running any telecom company.
So, Ravinder Takkar, I'm not saying owning. So 49%, up to 49% is what I'm gathering. The government can take depending on how much moratorium repayment ability you really have. So my specific question is that, is there going to be an arrangement with the government in terms of dilution of the stake at different price points? You may not have the details, but at least directionally, is that the framework being worked out?
No, so the government, when they convert any funds, whether it is the interest or potentially any of the future payments into equity, I think one thing is very clear: the government, like anybody else, will follow the rules of the land and SEBI rules for conversion. So in many ways, you cannot have a situation where the government will follow different rules compared to what any other investors follow. That I can tell you, and it's been very clear from the government that that is their intent, to follow SEBI rules. So there will be no special arrangement which says that the government can do or invest into this company in rules that are different than what any other investor would be allowed to, or what is based on the company rules and the SEBI regulations that exist in the country.
Right, on that note, we'll take a break and continue our conversation with the MD and CEO of Vodafone Idea right after this short break. We're on the Newsmaker.